Hey, honey, what you doing?
I am about to go into this hive, this colony, to check to see the status of their honey production and to make sure that we've got a viable queen and to treat with formic acid for mites.
That sounds like a lot of things to do.
There needs to be something to do every time you get into a beehive. Otherwise, you're just getting in there and disturbing them for nothing.
I don't really know that I'd want to get into a beehive just to disturb the bees.
So what we usually do is give them a little knock on the front entrance. Let them know we're coming. Take off the top lid. And we remove this piece of styrofoam I've got on here for extra insulated properties. During the heat of the summer, it's good to make it a little cooler upstairs so the bees can do their thing. So we've got bees in the honey super. The big box on the bottom is the brood chamber, and that's where we keep the queen. There's a screen right here that's small enough to keep the queen out, but big enough to allow the workers up through. And the workers come up to here to make honey, or to deposit their nectar and turn it into honey.
Look at them looking up.
So we give them a little smoke, just to get them to get a little confused. And we'll go to see if we've got any honey production up here at all. We usually work the middle frames first. They're still drawing comb on these ones.
So what do you mean by that?
We put the blank foundation in, this plastic foundation piece, and the bees add the wax, which creates the chambers for which they can either lay baby bees or deposit honey.
Gotcha.
We'll see if we can find a drawn out frame so I can show you what that looks like. No, that's just some wax colored foundation.
That would have been cool if that was all drawn, huh?
Yep. Well, they haven't gotten any of the super frames drawn out yet. We'll go find one that they have. Maybe the next one will have one they have. It's been a bad foraging year. Last year we had 12 production colonies and we pulled 720 pounds of honey, which was pretty good. This year we've got 18 production colonies, and I bet we don't have 500 pounds of honey. So this is called the queen excluder. Again, it's small enough for the queen to stay downstairs, big enough for the workers to work their way up through.
So what happens when you smoke them?
It interrupts their communication. They communicate through pheromone. And what it does is kind of gives them a little bit of an alarm that there's smoke going on, so they pay attention to the smoke and not to me.
That's probably a good thing, huh?
Yep. So we usually check with the outside frame first because you want to be really careful not to hurt the queen. There's only one queen per hive. And if we hurt the queen, then they have to make a new one. We go really easy. And this is a frame of mostly pollen, with some nectar in there. These smaller bees are workers. And that big bee right there, and there, and there is a drone, a male. The workers are the only ones that can sting you. The drones eat resources from this hive and then go mate with a queen from another hive. And then he dies. So, kind of not, I wouldn't want to be a drone. has some worker brood in all stages. So this capped over brood that is flush with the comb is worker brood, so baby worker bees will be coming out. This comb on the bottom is filled with drone larvae. They just add that on to give them some room to lay some drones. But there's some larvae down in the bottom of those ones too.
The white, right?
Yep. Things that look like little maggots.
So the worker bees lay those eggs?
Nope, the queen lays those eggs.
Queen bee lays the eggs. That must mean there's somewhere in here there's a queen.
There's one queen per colony. This is a supersedure cell, but it was a practice cup because there's no larvae inside. You can raise their own queen that way. I'm not sure if this one didn't swarm. Not a huge population of bees in this colony. So they get a little more agitated, so we give them a little bit more smoke. Let's see if we can go find Her Royal Highness. There's another sheet of brood. "21 days to have a worker emerge from the day the queen lays the egg." Oh, I was going to tell you. Queens, during the nectar flow, which we're kind of on the tail end of, will lay between 1,500 and 2,000 eggs per day.
That's a lot of eggs.
She is the only egg layer in the colony. She is the matriarch. Her genes get passed on generation after generation. So you want to pick queens with good genetics.
How long does a queen live?
She can live up to 5 years. Locally, 3 years of production, just due to the harshness of the climate. And there's some more brood and larvae and drone brood over here. The popcorny looking stuff is drone brood. The stuff that's flush looks like is worker brood.
So you said it was a small population, but that looks like a lot of bees.
It does. But when this time of year, that whole frame should be covered in bees. And it's not. But there will be soon. That's a lot of brood. This queen's doing a halfway decent job of staying ahead of the game.
Look at how busy they are. It's so awesome. So do all of the bees in here every day go out into the world and get resources, or?
No, everything's based on the age of the bee. When the bee emerges after 21 days, its first job is to go back into the cell that it emerged from and clean it out. And then for a few days, that bee will be like the janitor of the hive. Go along and clean things up. Then a little while later, it will receive nectar and pollen from the foragers and go deposit that in the hive. And then a little while after that, they become guard bees. And then after they were a guard bee for a while, they go and become foragers, where they literally work themselves to death. 45 days is all you can ask out of a worker during the nectar flow. During that time, that worker bee will gather a quarter of a tablespoon of honey. Not this year.
If you only could, girls, we'd appreciate it.
That is another nice sheet of brood.
So this is our 5th year having bees, and I still remember the first time holding one of those frames of bees, and it's like holding their whole universe from egg through birth. You can watch them emerge from that brood, that brown brood, to growing up, to through their death. And it's awesome. And they're so precise in everything they do, their communication, their movements, their decisions. They make decisions together. And they're just fascinating to be around and have them in your life. Did you see eggs in here?
There's eggs on this one.
Oh, that's good. It means hopefully she's here somewhere. We haven't seen her.
I don't know if I can get the camera right or.
Let's see. Let's see if I can find an egg. We're looking for a little tiny
Speck.
smaller than a grain of rice, as I stand in front of the colony's entrance waiting to get stung on my knee.
Alright, let's go check that last frame, see if we can find her.
They're all crowding around outside. Cool, fanning.
When they fan, they're spreading the queen's pheromone out so that the ones that are flying know that that's where their home is. When we're catching swarms, we really only have to catch one bee, and that be the queen. If we catch the queen, the colony will follow. Well, I didn't see her.
Doesn't mean she's not there. It just means that
She could be down on the bottom board. She could be on the wall. Anyway, we can go get into another one real quick. I am going to treat these ones for mites because we did a mite wash a while back, and if for me personally, out of 300 bees, if we end up with 3 mites or more in the mite wash, then I know we're at 1% infestation, in which case we need to treat. And we needed to treat a while ago, but the weather wouldn't allow it. This particular product I use has a range of temperature that it's safe to use it in, and 85 degrees is too hot. So we have to wait until the temperature cools off. But it's got to be more than 50 or else it doesn't gas. There's a lot of smoke for you there.
yeah. It's alright, it's gonna keep them off me while I stand here. Not in full PPE.
There are a lot of bees in there.
Yeah.
Take it back. I don't know where she is, but we didn't see her.
Sorry about that. I just had a friend land on my hand, and I really do not like getting stung. And I swell up pretty good.
Now I gotta get the bees out of the way to be able to put the formic acid on.
So mites are almost like ticks to humans. They go on the bees, predominantly on their abdomens, and basically kind of suck the fatty.
Gobulin.
What word did you say?
Gobulin.
Gobulin. They're like a goblin eating gobulin off of the bees, and they suck out of the bee, and when they do that, they put diseases potentially back into the bees, and it makes the bees sick. It can make your whole colony sick, and it can cause you to lose an entire colony of bees because they're just not healthy. The mites just ultimately can kill a colony of bees.
So the mite wash involves killing 300 bees, and there's a lot of folks that don't want to do that. But throughout the course of the season, that queen, like I said, she lays between 1,500 and 2,000 eggs per day. The amount of bees that I kill for mite tests is less than 1 day's worth of egg laying for her.
Which is crazy, and it certainly eases our mind about when we do a mite wash. We know that what we're doing is for the betterment of the colony, but it's never fun to have to, kill the bees, even though we do it as humanely as possible. So to know that that population of bees that we're eliminating in order to test for the mites is going to be replaced very quickly and very easily eases the mind. So those 2 pads that you saw John put on there are the medicine, the formic, that will help kill those mites that are in this colony. Move over there. These girls are quite busy. So kind of let things grow up a little bit to try to give them as much to forage from as possible. So the entrance to this colony is over on the side that John is. Oh no, it's over here. Oh, I was thinking it was over there. Look at that. Here it is. Oh, I was mistaken.
And this was a split that we made this year, and the population's a little light, but we keep them healthy this winter, and they will be next year's booming colony.
Queen excluder. Keep Her Majesty downstairs out of the hopeful honey super. That's what we're gonna call them, the hopeful honey supers this year.
Yeah, hopefully this year.
Yep.
3 or 4 frames of bees.
Excellent. So a split. There was a colony that was that was too populated.
It was getting ready to swarm,
Oh dear.
and a swarm colony doesn't do us much good because they take the current queen and a bunch of workers with her. There's some nectar.
Awesome.
I don't know if you can get the glisten. Not honey yet, but it's nectar.
So if you see anything shiny, that's nectar that they're bringing in from their foraging.
There's some brood.
That's a pretty.
And her queen.
Oh, where is she? Where's Her Majesty?
See if you can find her.
Let's see if it's always harder to find her when I'm with the camera.
She is in the lower right of the frame. Now
There
working her
she
way toward
is.
the middle.
Here's her. Oh, look at her. She's gorgeous. Beautiful caramel color queen. Hi, Mama.
She's a brand new queen this year. We could have marked her, but I can find them pretty easy without the marking. And quite often they rub the marking off anyway,
So she doesn't eat. All the bees feed her. And they clean her. All her only thing that she does all day long is look for a place to lay an egg and lay an egg. And as John said before, she can lay up to 1,500 to 2,000 eggs a day. And a healthy queen is critical to the survival of a colony. And we're now already thinking about winter, getting our bees healthy and strong enough for winter. So while everybody else is hanging on to the days of summer, we're already thinking about how we're going to get these girls ready to go into winter and be healthy and safe. This is funny. That's the colony we were in before. And they're all hanging out outside.
Because they don't like the smell of the treatment.
They don't like the smell of the treatment. We had put one treatment in a colony one time, and we went back out a day or two later and they had pulled big pieces of it out. They didn't want it in there, it smelled bad. So they obviously don't love it, but it
Kills the mites, but not the bees.
kills the mites but not the bees. They will go back in as it cools this evening, so they will get the treatment. Just right now they're just protesting.
This particular treatment, unlike all of them, will penetrate the cappings on the brood and kill baby mice before they actually emerge. So that's why we choose that one. And you can also use that one with honey supers on, which is kind of important this time of year.
So we don't want to take those honey supers off.
One more.
One more sounds good.
This one's about the same shape as this one was. I can show you what drawn comb looks like though.
They've been busier, huh?
So here's the plastic foundation, and the yellow wax is made by the bees to be a place where they can store the honey in this case. And down below it's where the queen can lay eggs in.
Another queen excluder so she doesn't go upstairs and lay eggs in the honey. Hello, sweethearts.
Yes. Some nectar and some weight on that frame.
Oh, there's the shiny nectar. Yep, and some pollen.
So I picked this one because it was on the outside of where she was actively laying. We'll do some rearranging of the frames here to make it so those usable ones are in the middle.
Look at that brood. Awesome. Those are the nurse bees tending to the brood. Oh, look, there's one coming out right now.
Where?
Right. I don't know where on the frame, but it's right in my,
It's in your viewfinder.
it's in my, oh my goodness, look at that.
I see the butt of a bee. I
No,
don't
there's
see the head of-
one that I've got it right over a new bee trying to emerge, and her sisters are trying to help along, eating her way out. Look at
Oh,
that.
Her Royal Highness is on this side, is on this frame too.
Really?
Yep. See if you can find her.
All right, we'll leave the baby bee. Oh, she was right near the baby bee. I got her right now. She was right where the bee was emerging. Look at her, another beauty. You can tell she's the queen. She has a elongated abdomen. Her wings don't come all the way to the bottom of her like they do on the other bees. Oftentimes, the other bees will encircle her, unless she's running around to try to find a place to lay like this mama is. Look at her. You might get lucky and get to see her lay. Well, those are kind of full of nectar, so maybe not. She's beautiful.
Well, she's gonna hit 1500. She probably ought to stop walking around and start laying.
I know it. Hey, Mama, get busy there.
She's checking that cell out.
Looks like it might be a good one. Let's see. See them circling around her right now?
Yep.
You're cleaning her.
Her Royal Highness and her court. Quite often when you're looking for a queen on the frame, if she's not visible, she may be laying an egg, or she might have her head driven down into a cell like she's doing here. But you can tell where she is because there'll be a whole circle, you know, of other bees, and they're all facing her.
Sometimes what we'll do is we'll gently blow on the bees to have them move. And John had said before they don't like our bad breath, but it gets them to move out of the way so we can see.
Nope, she didn't.
She didn't like that cell. That one wasn't a good wing.
That one might already had an egg in it.
Get out of the way.
She's
get
pretty
out of the way.
particular.
Yeah. Well, that was pretty awesome.
She's over on this side now.
Where is she going? Where are we at? I don't see her again.
Right here. See her?
Leave your finger there just a minute, honey, please.
Leave my finger there?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay.
Got her?
Yeah. Sometimes I can find her with my eyes, but not with the
Alright.
not with the camera.
She's camera shy or something.
She is camera shy. Performance anxiety. She's awesome though.
She's not doing too bad.
We named our first queen ever, and then she left and our feelings were hurt, so we don't name them anymore.
So there's a paper that wraps around the, it's like a mash, a liquid mash. This stuff is really strong, takes your breath away, just like that. You place that over where the brood is, and the vapor that comes off that pad, the paper acts as a time release, and those pads will stay on for 2 weeks and kill all the mites in the hive. Well, a good portion of them. High 90%.
So what we will do in 2 weeks is we will test to make sure that it was effective. It's testing the efficacy of the treatment. So you test, see how your mites are, you treat if you're over the threshold, and then you test again to make sure that the treatment worked.
I
Test.
like to time the second test for when I'm doing my regular monthly test anyway.
Yep,
That way I don't double the amount of bees that I kill.
that is right.
2 more colonies and then all the treatment is on.
Ooh, they're up in that honey super, aren't they?
They are. They've been eating the styrofoam.
Oh my goodness, we had a... Ow! Shoot. I'm backing away. I just get stung right on my finger. They don't... This is not a... So what we don't say is they're not aggressive. They are defensive. She didn't leave the stinger in my finger, so that's good. But she got me.
That's because your hand was where she wanted to be.
My hand was where she wanted to be. John can get stung, and he just goes, ouch, and he moves on. I'll get stung, and I will be swollen right up. So,
A little bit of nectar in that honey frame.
awesome.
And just you're keeping your distance this time, huh?
Well, she came right out of there and went right for my hand, dear.
You were blocking her entrance.
I must have been. I was not being a good bee friend. Ooh, that's gonna swell. It's not a bad thing to get stung, though. This is a pain in the butt, because then your hand hurts.
And of course, you use a computer all day for your job, so
Right.
your hand's falling out to the point where you can't even bend your fingers isn't necessarily a good thing.
That's kind of a bummer. So because this colony is a little bit more defensive, John's just gonna throw the treatment on there. And when he goes back in, or when we go back in to do our regular inspection in 2 weeks, we'll see how they're doing.
Keep them from eating styrofoam.
So we had a swarm that went, we had a swarm that went back and they landed on the outside of the colony. And they were all outside, sort of like those girls are there. And we went back the next morning and we couldn't find them. And then John noticed that they had eaten a hole in the styrofoam.
This is the one I just did.
Yeah, that's the one you just did, yeah. They
Probably
had eaten,
having them all look like.
well, they kind of do. They had eaten a hole in the styrofoam and were coming and going out of the hole they had made in the styrofoam. That was kind of entertaining. They don't read the same books we do, so we might say, oh no, the bees wouldn't eat the styrofoam, and then they're going to go and eat the styrofoam. That's that colony that we were just in, and they're getting the scent of the treatment, queen excluder, so she doesn't go upstairs.
This one's really light in population. Really light.
Oh dear, yep. That's Daisy. Some, not many friends, but some.
It's just a nitty bitty queen.
Where is she?
That might be why they're light in population.
Let's see if I can find her with my eyes and then the camera.
Oh, there she is. Let's see if I can. There she is. Caramel.
These bees are hungry due to the lack of forage. So we will be remedying that once the mite treatment is off. We'll start feeding them sugar syrup to get their weight up before winter. We can go into winter with a healthy population that is well fed and as mite free as possible. Our chances of winter success, overwintering success, is greatly increased.
It's always very rewarding when we go in to open up the colonies in May and see who survived. We check them throughout the winter through different means, but really the true test is when we go in May. Fantastic. That first colony is still like, oh, it stinks in here. They'll go back in. The other colonies have lighter populations, so they're not coming out as much. And they're not in the direct sun like that one is. There. Fantastic.
There. That concludes that.
There you go, honey. Thank you.